Holy shit, Emil Jameson is on. That's a gay ass sex. And I have to say, I don't usually get starstruck, but here I am staring at a celebrity. Thank you for coming on this gay ass sex pod. How are you?
You're so welcome, and I am doing well. Yes. How are you?
Oh, thank you for asking. I'm so great. And before we hit record, you mentioned that you are dabbling in tarot. What are the cards saying today, Emil? What's the vibe?
They were saying don't get hung up on the past,
Mm.
and don't let that block moving forward.
Amen. I
Yeah, and also
feel
you're going to be so rich, so that was nice to see.
okay, okay. Let's continue the manifestation. You're so
Mm,
rich.
mhm, mhm.
What is the first big purchase you make?
I'm gonna replace the shocks in my car.
Hot, hot. As you know, this is a
Right? I
sex
know.
podcast, and we're gonna get into the machinery of your Nissan Altima.
Sentra.
Do you have a
How did you
Nissan?
know?
Do you actually?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Wow.
Did I
Well
just
done.
find out that I don't need tarot? I can just fucking psychic the shit out of
Yeah.
the girls and the gals. So this is a gay ass sex part of the pod. Obviously, we thank
Yeah.
our stunning Patreon listeners for supporting, and that's what's made me be lucky to have Emil here. Emil, how do you describe your job as a sexy sex living man? What do you when someone's like, so what do you call yourself? What do you do? What do you say?
That's a great question. I guess like if my doctor is asking, I tell them I am an adult content creator. And if I'm trying to get like a rise out of somebody who's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm just like, "Porn." Yeah. So
Well,
just very
I
blunt.
want I want it to be known that I am someone who is a fan of your work, and also I
Thank
have
you.
seen you dance at the gay party called Hot Dog in Los Angeles,
Yes.
and I feel like
Yes.
n- anytime I butter up someone's biscuit, it comes from a very genuine place. And my genuine butter up to you is
Thank you.
that you find this great balance of like, of course, having the sex appeal, but also there's something about your
Uh-huh.
ability to show your personality and like a lack of inhibition that encourages other people to feel
Hmm.
horny and hot. And that is a quality that I think is really great
Yes.
in someone like you. So have you always
Thank you.
possessed that quality of like sort have you always been able to take your clothes off and just be like, let's just fuck?
You know, it's very much a persona that I put on for the box. Um, Basically, I'm like, okay, what would I want to see up on a box that I think is sexy? And then I do that. So
Love.
there's like a little bit of like sexy, mysterious intrigue with it. I also like to heckle people. Like if people aren't giving me tips, I like yell at them. Um, or I'll just like hand money out to people and be like, hey, just give it back to me. I'm bored. Um, so I don't know. It's just like, playing banter, but also like giving a little bit of playing straight, like
Ooh.
I'm going to be like, I don't know, making sly eye contact, holding lingering glances. It's a fun little game
I
to
was
be
gonna
up there.
say you play the game and game over HOE or you did tweet
Hmm. Hmm.
that someone tried to like make out with you before giving you the cash and you said no honey,
Yes.
that's not how it works. Is that something
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
happens? A
Hmm.
of all, does it happen a lot? And B of all, do you actually enjoy that type of interaction with someone at a club or an event?
Okay, so A of all, it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, I will let the person know. And do I enjoy that interaction? Actually, let me go to A point one.
Okay.
It's usually people who are like under 25 who have maybe never tipped a go-go before, and they think that
Oh.
um, like they're doing me a favor or like I'm earning the tip from them And it's like, no, 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 honey, this is a place of business.
Sweetie.
Like, you are paying for a service when you give me $1. Um, so that, um, yeah. Do I enjoy it? Um, I don't disenjoy it. I kind of see it as like an experiment of who's the best kisser in the room. And it's really surprising sometimes. A lot of really hot people are terrible kissers.
Which
I
is
think
so
just because
fucked
no one has
up.
ever, yeah, it's like kind of disappointing. I just think no one's like ever told them before that they're not a good kisser because they're hot. And then sometimes people that's like, okay, they're like coming up to give me a tip. I like give them a kiss. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna keep going with this because this is fun. And then I do tell them that they're very good at that. So
Hot,
yeah.
hot, hot. What's your favorite style of kissing? Do you like low, mid,
Mhm.
high tongue involvement? Do you and what is the hot guy doing that's bad?
Okay, well, I'll start with what is the Hawkeye doing this bad? Usually it's way too much tongue
Ugh.
and like you have to open your mouth like a little bit. So I guess I'll say I like mid tongue. Like if your tongue is hard and like poking, um, no, that's not it.
Agree,
Mm-mm.
agree, agree. So,
Yeah.
with this being gay as sex, I'd love to get into some
Hmm.
specifics of what you, Emil, are into. Let's talk about
Yeah.
a recent hookup that you have had. What was so delicious about it, and what turns
Mm.
you on?
Let's see. So I guess like a general theme of my favorite hookups are I was thinking about this the other day of like the difference between the wanting and the having. So like there has to be build up for me to actually want it. Like the having is fun, like the having of sex is fun. But honestly, like the wanting to have sex is like a big deal too.
Oh
So
yeah.
like I've got to be warmed up there. I love banter. I love playfulness. Um, I love playing with tension. Um, so like it's not just like, hey, you're hot, wanna fuck? It's like, no,
We need
I
some of a
don't.
chase.
Um,
We need
we need a
A to B to
chase.
C. We need a climactic
Yes.
ending. We need, yeah,
Yeah.
you basically
Hmm.
are a story developer and you can't just go
Yes.
to the epilogue. You need to have
Exactly.
development.
Yes. Yeah. Um, So I think like an example of that, I was recently at this like queer camping thing. Um, and there was this hot man, and I saw him from afar for several days, and I was like, who is this? Finally, we have an interaction. It's really cute. We're on this like outdoor daytime dance floor thing, and we like exchange words because we didn't have any cell phone reception. So it was like, I guess we'll see each other around. And we did. And I think it was later that day, we like went to the bathhouse and like had a cute little moment in the sauna. And then um, there were like massage tables available. And mind you, this is like fully public. So just like get him to lay down on the massage table, start massaging him with like coconut oil. People start watching because it's like we're two hot guys on the massage table. And then I fucked him, and it was beautiful. It was like slow and sensual, like really just a continuation of the massage. Um, and so like there was that connection, there was that chase, there was the wanting, but also like I'm a huge exhibitionist. So like having that then in front of people, knowing that like people were watching, just like added to it. It was great.
That sounds incredible. I
Yeah.
also want to get
Yeah.
intel on this camping situation. There's a sauna because when you first say camping, I was like, I'm not much of a shitting in a ground girl, but if there's a sauna and a massage table involved, sweetie, I'm sad.
Yeah. Two massage tables.
Oof.
It is, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Radical Fairies.
Heard of, don't know a damn
They
thing.
are. Great. It's like a queer mm, society, I guess, around the world, and there is a gathering every uh, end of April, beginning of May, in a secret location in Tennessee. Um, and it was like 500 queer people camping there over the weekend,
Wow.
celebrating May Day.
That sounds
So
absolutely incredible. I um
yeah,
will be looking this up, and I also love that there's that many people that were there and you were able to find this guy. And after all that tension, can you give us an insight
yeah,
into what he looked like? What type of hot guy was he?
mm,
Give me some of the details,
yeah.
and also tell me, does that type of person, are you usually gravitating towards that one, or do you have many different types that you are fooking?
Uh-huh. I have many different type of types. There are some through lines of like I need some semblance of musculature. And honestly, that's it. um,
What
yeah,
does that
so this
mean?
guy
What
was
does that mean?
like,
You what, like, is it pecs? Is it delts? Is it,
I
what is it?
it can I'm very much a chest guy,
Hmm.
so like upper body, yeah. Like anything else doesn't hurt. But I do love a good chest. So this guy had like um yoga body. He was very like lithe and
Mm.
lean. Great chest, great arms, um, lots of tattoos. He had a mullet. I'm a sucker for a mullet.
Mm.
Um, yeah. Really good style. So again, this camping thing, like people bring looks.
That
There's
it
not
is
like
queer
much
after all.
yeah, there's not much like actual functional clothing involved. It's more just like, all right, you've worn 5 Speedos today, you're gonna have another 5 tomorrow, or like really cute mesh pants. I don't know. So the first time I saw him, he had on these like really hot blue parachute pants. I don't know. And I was like, cool pants, and like he's very hot. So
You kind
yeah.
of lean into Williamsburg, you lean into East
Oh, fully.
Side,
Yeah.
yeah, which we
Yeah.
love. Now, do you have
Hmm. Hmm.
any new kinks that have popped up for you that you tend to get turned on by, that you feel comfortable talking about on That's a Gay Ass Podcast?
I mean, sure, why not? The internet's seen my hole, so like, what's off limits now? I have always known. Okay, first of all, my nipples sadly are like dead. They don't do anything. So I have found that my favorite erogenous zone is my balls, and I have been exploring that. So like light ball torture is like really hot for me. I love having my balls pull on like really hard. Um, yeah. Uh, we'll stick with that one. Yeah.
I love that we'll stick with that one. Puts my head into like, what other fucked up shit are you not? But you know what? That was a great answer. Light ball torture,
Thank you.
torture,
Yeah.
diet ball torture is gonna be the name of
Yes.
your album, and I will be list.
Thank you.
You're the next pop girly, and of course you in a blonde
Yeah.
wig with fringe. Um,
Yes.
wow,
Yes.
we're coming up with so much. Now, you really do strike this balance of course, doing porn, content creation, performing,
Hmm.
and you have obviously a life outside of it. What led you to
Hmm.
becoming this content creator? What did you have a past life that was a little more corporate, or were you always in this sort of vein of work?
I'm a man who has lived many lives. I've worked in education several times. I still kind of am in education. I teach piano. Um, I uh, I have 2 degrees in linguistics.
Holy shit.
Um, yeah. So I've gone through a lot of different things. I was a professional gardener. I was a florist. Um, yeah, so kind of all over the place. But this specific thing, I grew up like very, very religious. Um, all of the men in my family are or have been pastors at some point. Um, and that came with, as you would expect, like a lot of trauma and shame.
Hmm.
And I think the most salient like version of shame that that brought about was with my body and just like I don't know. I think we think of like the problem of modesty being a very like feminine problem and like a trauma that is mostly associated with women, but I guess in my growing up I like received that shame as well. So while I was in grad school, so this is like 2018, I I don't know, I was living in a larger city for the first time, on my own as an out gay person for the first time. And like receiving attention was really jarring for me because like that's not something that I had ever really dealt with before.
Yeah.
But it kind of sparked this realization like, oh, I'm an attractive person. I'm beautiful. Um, and I have this shame that's saying, well, yes, but like you're not allowed to show that. And it's
Mhm.
bad for people to see that. And I was like, no, I need to get this out. So I started this like, it was originally just thirst traps, but like artsy. Um, Started like an account on Instagram and gave myself the name Emil Jameson, which is not my real name. Sorry, everybody. Uh, but yeah, it slowly, actually, no, not slowly, very quickly turned into like this creative outlet that was exploring my own beauty and the concept of modesty and being like, hey, I'm a body. We all have bodies. Like, we are things that are seen. We can't really help it.
Yes.
Um, so, like, why not just kind of bear it all and get it out there? But if you look like farther back into my photos, you'll see that like my eyes are always covered. And that was like kind of me deciding for myself, okay, what's the important part of me? Like my body, whatever, like we all have one.
Yeah.
Um, that's not necessarily the part that I should or can keep to myself, again, because like I'm a physical being. But my mind and my identity are like what are most important to me. And so kind of playing with that idea of modesty. Over the years, like I worked through all of that. Um, and like reincorporated what I learned from being a naked person on the internet back into my real self. Um, and it kind of, the importance of it changed to me.
Mm.
And so as I was like getting into this creative habit of like making photos, um, photographers started reaching out, being like, hey, can I shoot you sometime? And it was like, well, I'm stuck in Akron, Ohio. Sure, like let me fly out to LA or something and do photos. So started doing photo shoots, started doing life modeling via Zoom. So I was just like, that was my first time being naked on video for a group of people. And I was like, oh, I actually love this. Um, yeah. So it's like been a long road. It's not like I just jumped into doing porn. It started out as like therapy and then art and then I was like, why not monetize this?
Yeah,
So
but it's
started
I
doing
it's
OnlyFans.
so
Yeah.
it's so well said that A, you use it as a form of therapy and it was such a gradual process to getting here because I agree with you
Hmm.
that there is so much shame based on bodies and
Yeah.
even beyond just like as human beings, but especially as
Yeah.
queer people. And there's two, for me, there's two layers.
Hmm.
One is like, A, you're not allowed to feel sexy or let people know that you have confidence in your body because that would mean that you're either a bad person,
Yes.
that you're toxic. And then the other side of it is that some queer people maybe use their bodies to get approval from the internet if they haven't done the work within, where other people have done that work and they're just celebrating.
Hmm.
So it's like it's
Yeah.
I myself will obviously post a thirst trap here and there, and my whole thing is
Mm-hmm.
I hated having body hair growing up, like really loathed it. And now that
Mm-hmm.
I've like moved past that shame, I will enjoy being able to put that out in the world from time to time.
Yeah.
But then I will like wonder, am I doing this because I'm celebrating or am I filling a void?
Uh-huh.
And so it's a delicate
Ooh.
balance that I think that we all come up against because we do deserve to
Mm-hmm.
celebrate the beauty of our bodies, whatever
Yeah.
they look like, because bodies are hot.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I love hearing that you have gotten to this place now where you are
Mm-hmm.
sure you've created this work, and thank God you're monetizing it because, honey, you deserve to get whether
Thank
it's a
you.
Nissan or a Lamborghini. Um, but speaking of this journey, let's get into some um stories of your past in terms of a hookup. Do you remember the first orgasm you had? Whether alone or with someone else?
I remember both. Yes, I remember both. The first one, I was like, what, 13? Weirdly, it was the same night that my sister got engaged.
Well, congrats to her.
So yeah, yeah, really momentous for both of us. So that would have been October 18th. Um, so the anniversary is coming up.
Huge.
And then the first time that I like came with someone else, I came out a little bit late. I was 24. Um, and the first time I hooked up with someone was this guy named Brian, and it was in the gym showers at an LA Fitness.
Oh, wow. That is good. Had
Yeah,
you known
yeah.
Brian before this encounter, or did you meet him at the gym?
No, we met at the gym. We'd been like eyeing each other for months. And finally, like we were in shower stalls across from each other, and he left the curtain open, and like I could see his dick, which was beautiful. Um, and yeah, I just hopped over and sucked his dick and jerked off.
And that was your
So
first hookup with someone else?
yeah.
Oh, that is delicious. I mean, you
I
really.
then Yeah, I went over to his house. I think maybe the next day. Ooh, another one of my like kinks is forbiddenness. Love almost getting caught. So he was married. And I went over before his husband came back from work, and he was like, "Okay, like we have like hard out at like I don't know, he said 9 p.m. because my husband is coming home." So I went over to play his piano, had a beautiful grand piano. So I did that. I was like shaking and nervous the whole time. I was like, oh my God, my first time at another person's house, probably for sex. And then we hooked up in his basement. Um, Turns out like he and his husband were open, so it wasn't a big deal at all. But I think he knew that like I was maybe into the forbiddenness, so he really played into that.
So, well, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's emotional intelligence to really like lead
Yeah.
you into like the hottest scenario possible. Did you was it full penetration and did you top or bottom?
No, no, it was not full penetration. I honestly don't really remember what happened. We had some champagne. Um,
Well, it must have
but I
been some
remember sucking his
good.
dick again.
Well, of course. I mean,
Yeah,
when it looks
yeah.
like that, I don't even. What to you constitutes a great dick? Paint the picture.
Uh, it was like, okay, so he was like not fully hard. I'm imagining this from the shower. Not fully hard, but like heavy. It
Mm,
like hung. He was hung. He was like, well, it was thick. And the skin just like looked so soft.
mm.
You know, like when a dick just like looks fleshy,
Moisturized. Yeah, 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 yeah.
moisturized. Yeah, he took care of that skin. So
I want to know what retinol he's
Yeah.
using on his cock. That is so yummy, and I think the forbiddenness
Hmm.
is it definitely takes to our roots of like getting caught jerking off or whatever. I'm sure
Yes.
some of our shame is baked
Yeah.
into that. Um, but do you have
Hmm.
any memories that are either incredible or awful or otherwise memorable that pop up for you?
Um, yes. I have a specific story that I'll like pare down because it is long and so bad. Um, this is another grad school story. So again, living in a larger city is Edinburgh, Scotland. It's like 500,000 people, whatever. I'm from small town Ohio, so it was huge for me. And I found my neighbor on Grinder who um, was he didn't look like his pictures, but he was really sweet. And we went on like one date. And during that date, we were talking about how I had never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey. So we were like, okay, yeah, let's hang out tomorrow and we'll watch this. And like me, I'm still such a stupid, naive boy. I'm just like, oh, we're gonna hang out and watch a movie means we're gonna hang out and watch a movie, which it
Oof.
never is. Um, so fast forward to the next day, I am like horny in the morning, and so I actually go hook up with someone else. It was great. Um, and then I'm like several hours behind on errands and schoolwork. So I'm like getting that done. And my neighbor comes over early while I'm coming up the stairs. And it's like this very awkward encounter where my flatmate had let him in and I'm there like absolutely not ready. We like make it work, set up my computer to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I was unaware that this movie's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Um, and also doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So Cliff's Notes version, we start watching this. He's like, you have to pay attention to the opening. And I was like, okay. So I'm trying to pay attention, but he starts getting cuddly. And I'm like, oh, I thought we were just watching a movie because I'm an idiot. Um, and we leave the movie playing as we start having sex. Mind you, I had already come that day and I was topping, and it was like February. I don't know. So, like, heat is on full blast in my room. So we fuck a little bit. Uh, I'm topping him. It's not very enjoyable. He's never bottomed before.
Hey.
Um, yes. So I come, I'm all sweaty. We're done. It's been like an hour-ish of us fooling around. And like, I've now come twice in one day, so my dick goes soft. And this guy's like, why aren't you getting hard again? And I'm just like, what? Um, I don't know. I'm tired. Like I just came. He's like, oh, am I like not hot to you? And I'm like,
Oh no.
what? And then he's like, I was like, well, let's just watch the movie. He goes, well, we missed an hour. So he insists on rewinding it.
Jesus
And
Christ.
so we start over, and then he's like, why are you so sweaty? It's like, I just topped. It's hot in here. He was just like complaining the whole movie. This movie's now 4 hours long. He wants to stay over. And I'm like, no, you live about 50 feet that way. You can just go home. And that was one of the worst
Do you think
hookups
you
I've ever
hooked up
had.
with him? Was it because it was a people-pleasing mentality? You were afraid to say you weren't into it? Because I think a lot of people have done that, but why do you think you went through with it? Were you because you were not
Mhm.
super into it, right?
I was not super into it. I think it was a little bit of like a pity mentality, and
Mm.
also like because I'm stupid, I thought we were actually just watching a movie. Um,
You were bamboozled.
yeah,
You were absolutely
I was
bamboozled.
bamboozled.
Well,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
relatable because a lot of us have been in these situations where it's like we see two roads. We can either just go through or go around it, and a lot of us go through. And
Yeah. Hmm.
now I'm assuming now as an adult man who has lived a life, uh
Uh-huh.
what would you have done to get out of it? Do you have any advice for people who maybe find themselves in a hookup situation and that they're like, oh, I don't want to go through with this?
Hmm.
What do you say, or have you not yet figured that out?
I am in the process of figuring that out, but I'm realizing that honesty is the best policy. If you're not into it, just like say that.
Yeah,
Also, if you're enjoying it and just don't want to have sex, you can still just like enjoy making out with someone. I do that pretty often, where it's like I'm not into this person, but like kissing's fun, so why not?
let's
Um,
smooch. Yeah, no,
yeah, yeah.
I totally can get down with that. And I
Hmm.
just, I'm giving that younger version of you a hug and saying, I'm sorry you had
Thank you.
to watch that movie. The Since we sadly have to get towards the end of this interview, I'm going to quick fire a
Yes.
few questions if you are okay with that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay,
Go for it.
question number one, percentage wise, topping versus bottoming, where would you say in your past year of hookups, where does the pie chart lie?
I'm gonna say 70-30 bottoming.
70% bottoming, 30% top.
Yeah, around there.
Next question is what is an etiquette must for a sexual encounter? What is something that you need for the hookup to be A plus?
Hmm. Um, oh, that's a good question. Um, Brushing your teeth.
Love. What would you
Hmm.
say is a celebrity or person in the zeitgeist that you would drop everything for to plow or be plowed by?
I know, like maybe a little problematic, but Shia
Oh, it depends on what year we're in. The problematic meter goes up or
Yeah,
down.
right. If we can just cut that section out,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I
Yeah.
lived in New York at a time when he was doing an exhibition at a museum in my neighborhood and there were
Mm,
protests
mhm.
against his exhibit and
Oh,
that's one of my Shia references of late. But you know what? That was a long time ago. So hopefully he's
sure.
not in cancelable territory. Are there
Right.
any favor take two? Are there any favorite Twitter sluts, whores, whether content creators or not, that you really love and you would like to tell us you love them?
Yes. I don't know people's real names.
You
Um,
can give a handle.
there's this guy, sure, there's a guy whose Twitter name is always erotic, and he like fucked an aloe vera leaf. That was great. Um, Hot and weird. I guess that's kind of my aesthetic. Um, I am a huge fan of Francois Saga. Um, so him, yeah, I'll stick with those two.
Those are great. And we're all gonna look up the aloe vera
Thanks.
fuck fest. Um, I think that there's no way we can literally top that answer of aloe vera. So I'm just going to end it by asking you a final
Mhm.
question, which is Emil Jameson, what would you like to manifest in your fucking life, whether it is content creation or just sex in your home? What can we manifest since we can build upon the tarot card reading you had earlier today?
Yeah, what can I manifest? I would love to do some more DPing, just in the day-to-day life.
I love that so much,
Yeah,
and I see it for
thank you.
you. And is there any way that you would give the listeners on the Patreon either a flex, show the tits, or anything that you'd like to do to give them a thank you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hold on. Let me get my tits in frame. There they are. Are they sitting? Is that good?
Tits are sitting,
Yeah.
Emil. Tits are sitting. Wait, now you gotta can we get a quick pit look? Oh yeah. The pits are
Yeah.
pitting, the
Here.
tits are
Close
sitting,
up.
and
Yeah.
close up. Jesus H. Christ.
You're
Thank you so much
welcome.
for coming on That's a Gay Ass podcast. Thank you for being you, Emil.
You're
You are
so welcome.
truly such an interesting person, of course, so hot, but I really enjoyed getting to know you, and I cannot
Thank
wait to
you.
see the rest of the fuckery you do and the magic you add to this world.
Thank you.